So a couple of weeks ago, I decided that I wanted to get better at talking to strangers. And so I set a goal to talk to 100 strangers. I'm making pretty good progress on that, but I've learned some really important things along the way. And I want to make this video as kind of like a tutorial on how to talk to strangers, the mindset and the philosophy behind it, and some progression steps to increase your comfort level so that, you go from saying hello to actually having like full-on conversations with strangers. So let's jump in. All right, so the first thing I want to talk about is the mindset or the philosophy that you should have when you're going into these interactions. For me, when I started talking to strangers, a lot of the fear or anxiety that I had was around this notion or idea that people didn't want to talk to me, that people were, all busy with their lives, like they got better things to do. And so I watched a bunch of YouTube videos, and if I were to summarize all those like concepts into one sentence, it would be yourself. That is like the mindset that you have to have. Like, don't be afraid to express who you are. And this can be broken down into 3 core parts. The first part is treating these people that you don't know like you're already friends with this person. And the reason behind this is because when you treat someone like you are their friend, this anxiety kind of goes away. Like, you don't overthink, you don't overplan. Like, when you sit down or when you see a friend, you say hello like you're bros. You're like, hey man, what's up? And you just, you just start talking. So that's part 1. Treat people like you already know them, like, friendly vibes. Part 2 is to chill out and just let it go. So I am someone who likes to overthink a lot. I like to overplan, I like to overanalyze. When I first started this challenge, the way I went into stranger interactions was, I need to plan out what to say and then have backup topics. And then like on top of backup topics, I should have, scrap all that. Like, let it go, chill out, don't be anxious, because if you're anxious and all like uptight, then the other person is also going to be anxious and uptight, and it doesn't really set a good vibe. If you are very uptight and tense and you overplan everything, you're not really going to let yourself out. It's like you're trying so hard to like get something out, and it's like, dude, just chill. Just like relax, be yourself, and let it go. That's part 2. Just chill out and let it go. Part 3 is focus on what the stranger and you have in common rather than the differences. What I've noticed for myself is that when I focus on the differences, like, this person that I want to talk to is very pretty, she's very attractive, she's a girl, I'm not a girl, she's wearing this, she has that, I don't have this, I don't have that, I get really anxious. But if you focus on the similarities, one of them being like, we're all human, right? Like, we're all trying to get through this life together, we're all trying to figure it out. We have emotions, we have struggles, right? Like, if you focus on this core, unchanging, common thing that we all have, which is that we're human, it kind of strips away all the other stuff, right? It's like, you're a human, I'm a human, let's talk. And so focusing on the common things instead of the differences allows you to be more of yourself. So that's part 3. Focus on the commonalities, not the differences. All right, now that I've covered the mindset or the philosophy of how to talk to strangers, which is just being yourself, let's talk about strategies. And the strategy part of this video is actually really, really simple. It's just initiate. Like, nothing else matters when it comes to stranger interactions except the initiation. You can have this like crazy like conversation plan going on in your head, but if you don't initiate, if you don't talk to the person, nothing's gonna matter, because they're gonna go on with their day, you're gonna go on with your day, and you're not going to talk to them. So initiate. But hold on. I hear you asking, how do you initiate? Like, there's got to be a strategy for that, right? Yes. So what I've found is, even though there's this whole concept of like being yourself, don't overplan, and just let it go, it's very, very useful to have an initiation strategy. But that's as far as you should plan. Just like have an initiation strategy and then just trust yourself to do the rest and just let it flow, let it go. So alright, let's talk about initiation strategies. Let me list off, I think, 2 that I found that have been very useful. The first one is called triangulation. How this works is you find something that you guys can talk about that is a common point of interest. So for example, if someone is walking their dog and they're in the elevator with you and you have a dog, triangulation, right? Like the connection point is the dog. And so you can talk about your dog. Like that's something that you can start a conversation with. So triangulation is basically trying to find something to start a conversation with that you guys both have in common. And the easiest way to do this is to look at physical objects, right? So like someone's dog, if someone's holding a Starbucks cup, you can ask about their Starbucks drink if you're really into Starbucks. If someone's holding a water bottle and wearing shorts, they might be going to the gym if you go to the gym. That's a common interest point that you can talk about. So triangulation is really great. That's strategy number 1. And strategy number 2 is compliments. Just compliment someone. If you like their shirt, talk about their shirt, compliment their shirt. So that's the strategy. Just initiate. How you do that is through triangulation and through compliments. There's a bunch of other initiation strategies out there, but I'm sure you'll be able to figure that out as you get better and better with this. Okay, the third part to this video is progression steps. Now, progression steps are important because you want to start off small and you want to build your confidence to be able to interact with strangers in more uncomfortable situations. So I've broken progression steps down into 3 parts. The first part is quick interactions. So this is how I started. Like if you live in an apartment like I do and someone leaves the elevator, just say, have a good night. It's low risk, it's quick, there's barely any fear of rejection. It's just, that's it. And another one is when you see someone that you commonly see, like a cashier or a barista or like the janitor in my apartment, just say hello, just say good morning and leave it at that. And if they want to start a conversation, then you can have that conversation. But that's the first progression step. It's just very quick, very low risk interactions. The second progression step is trying to have conversations with people. Now, this one's a little harder, but again, within this like progression step, you can have more progression steps. So conversations don't have to be long. They can be something as simple as, oh, like what are you gonna order? Like if you're in line with someone and you're both holding menus trying to figure out what you're gonna order, you can just be like, hey man, like what are you gonna order? I was thinking about ordering this. So that's like an example of a short conversation. A slightly longer conversation is, let's say you're at dance class. You can ask the person how long they've been dancing for and then have a conversation around dance and why you're in this class and what other classes have you taken and all that other stuff. So there's progression steps within each of these steps. There's a lot of steps here, I'm realizing now, but second step is just general conversations. And then the third progression step is having deeper conversations. Now, depending on the stranger, they might not be open to this, but if you know someone and have met them numerous times, this might be something that you can explore. So deeper topics are things like relationships, like life philosophy, what do you think is the meaning of life, right? General stuff like that. So those are the 3 progression steps. I'd recommend for anybody trying to do this on their own, start with the first one and work your way up from there. I should be going this way, work your way up from the first progression step. Okay, that was a lot of information in one video. I hope that I get really good at this, and my goal is when people are like, hey, how did you like get really good at this? I can just point them back to this video and be like, this. I made a full guide on how to do this. So if you want to do this, you can. It's all here. All right, that'll be it for this video. Let me know if you have any questions or if you've ever tried to do any of this on your own and how it felt for you. And if you have any questions or want to see or hear any other tips and tricks that I've learned from doing this, because I haven't hit my goal of talking to 100 strangers, let me know and I will make a video or a follow-up video to it. Right, that's all I got. Make sure you sleep and exercise, and peace.